Hello, everyone. This is Alan Wang with the Alan Wang Realty Group at Keller Williams, Santa Clara Valley. I'm really excited to provide you the 2021 Silicon Valley Real Estate Year in Review, and also what our projections are for the real estate market in 2022. Without further ado, I'm going to present our slide deck here for you. And again, my name is Alan Wang out of the Silicon Valley, California. What happened in 2021? 2021 was yet another very aggressive seller's market. If you were on the buyer side of the house, you definitely knew that things were extremely aggressive. And as a seller, you were enjoying the multiple bids that were going on from the buyer pool. The most aggressive buyers were the ones that won the deal. And that means they had the financial means in order to win the property. They were the ones who were willing to put the highest price on the property and perhaps multiple rounds of negotiations after the initial offer. And of course, lastly, they had the strong desire and need to upsize their home. Now, most of the folks that are buying currently in this market, the profile is they are looking to upsize their properties. The single family home sector was the most coveted sector in 2021, and that was also the case in 2020. Because of COVID, the reasons are obvious on that. Now, the single family home sector got pretty expensive. And so a lot of buyers got priced out of that market and ended up heading into the townhome market. And so in Q2, the townhome market actually saw a recovery as well. Condominium market was hit or miss. It's still mostly a buyer's market, shifting to possibly a balanced market. So if you're a buyer looking for a deal, the condominium market would be the place to look. Understandably why, with COVID, most folks do not want to be in the condominium since there's not enough space. So what has been driving these buyers out there? What's motivating them? You must be wondering. Number one, if you look at Maslow's basic first level hierarchy of needs, shelter is number one. So food, clothing, and shelter. Shelter being one of the most important needs of our human lives is housing. And so as COVID has hit and more folks are working from home, the need for a home office with a closed door and closed walls so that the whole family doesn't have to listen to your meetings has become paramount. And so definitely the extra bedroom, you'll see a standard home about 3 bedrooms, the 4 bedrooms sell for a premium over the 3 bedrooms. For example, of course, 4 and 5 or more are even more desirable. Now, the yard is also still very important. With COVID, folks it's still safer to be in the backyard. As you see, currently it's in December, a lot of Christmas holiday parties have generated spreader events. And having those outside would have been better. Obviously, it has been very cold, but an outdoor space is paramount at this moment. The second reason for buyers being so aggressive is that they have an increased buying power. Now, what does that mean? Well, interest rates have been at still historical lows. It did come up a little bit since 2020, but the rates are still at record lows. You're seeing rates from 2.5% to 3.5%, still record lows. So with rates being low, buyers can buy more house. And so they can offer more for the price of the home that they're bidding on. There's also been a wealth influx in the Silicon Valley. Those of you that work in tech know this. Your stock options, your restricted stock options, those have all been doing extremely well. And so that wealth influx has been allowing more down payment and more buying power for these aggressive buyers. Now, again, we talked about this a little bit, larger home, everyone wants a bigger square footage, more space, a den space for kids to play, for them to do homework, etc. More bedrooms, ideally for an office, what folks are looking for. Good sized backyard, we mentioned, and a move-in ready home is also a key requirement. Buyers don't want to do a lot of work. It's hard to get a contractor or a handyman, electrician, plumber. It's hard to get the trades out. It's hard to get appliances right now. If you're looking for, we've heard backlogs in pipes, in garage doors, in appliances, etc. It's hard to get your hands on these things, and buyers don't have the time and they're willing to pay premium for a home that's move-in ready. Talking a little bit more about this influx that's happening in the Silicon Valley, especially I look at the NASDAQ index. Most of the technology stocks in the Valley are on this index. And there's been a 23% increase from January until December in equity prices. And there you go. That's where that wealth is coming from. All of the Bay Area, Silicon Valley buyers have increased their stock option wealth by at least 23% in the last year. And that's why a lot of folks are trying to take those funds out of the stock market and pour them into real estate, which is something they really, really need for their family. And the next metric I like to track is the interest rates. Now, if you recall your parents saying, oh my gosh, in the 80s, we paid 18% interest rate, they are correct. If you look at the chart here, that has absolutely been the case. In the 80s, the interest rate spiked to 18%. And now, as of the end of the year, we were hovering at 3.11%. Folks, these are still historical lows. And so it's really important that you see this chart to understand how good a deal we're getting on the ability to borrow money at very, very low interest rates. Inflation, this has been a major issue that's been brought up in November. The inflation rate hit the highest point it's been in the last 20 years. And this chart actually covers the last 20 years at 6.8%. Cost of goods, you've probably noticed. Food is costing more. The appliances, building, wood costs. We in the real estate industry have seen inflation for quite a while now because just monitoring the price of lumber since COVID hit has been an issue. But what's going on here? There's a reason for this. If you go back to March of 2020 when the pandemic hit, now remember, we are in a global society when you talk about supply chain of goods that are being created. They're being usually created abroad, and there are parts and raw materials coming in from multiple places around the world in order to build the product that you need. And so when COVID hit, factories shut down, folks were told to stay home. And businesses also, on one hand, they decided to probably ramp down the production because they were concerned that the demand would have dropped. And on the flip side, they also couldn't because of COVID. Folks had to isolate at home and factories were closed. Now, when we emerged from the pandemic, the worst of the pandemic, the consumers, we had a lot of savings all of a sudden because we haven't been going out. So with this extra disposable income, folks started buying. They started wanting cars, they started wanting products. They are starting to eat out again, and businesses were not ready for this. Restaurants didn't have workers. Restaurants needed to get workers back in. Factories had to bring their workers back in order to get those folks. And then they had to go and source the different raw materials from different places and down the supply chain. And so you cannot just snap a finger and have the world economy start humming again, especially with the pandemic still raging. So what that creates is scarcity. Products are scarce, which means any supply and demand curve that you look at in economics 101, when there is high demand and low supply, prices jump. And that's the basic supply and demand rules that you'll see, and that's what's happening. The big question is, will this settle down or not? Will factories come online? Will workers come back to work? And will we get this all settled down? I believe eventually we will get there. I'm not sure exactly when that will be, when that will occur. And something definitely to monitor is inflation. Unemployment, there's definitely some good news on unemployment. It's dropped down from the peak of about 16% during the peak of the pandemic to 6.9% currently, and that's getting better and better and better. So that's something that's good to monitor. There are jobs out there if people want to go back to them, and that's always a good sign that folks are able to go back to work if they so choose to do so. Some metrics for you from Santa Clara County perspective. If you wanted to know by sectors, the single-family home sector, the average sold price last year was $2,036,229. Average days on market was 15 days, amazing. And I like to monitor this one, which is the list price to the sold price was 8.88%. So if you listed a property at $1 million, it would sell 8.88% over that price. Townhome sector, 1.1, average price of 1.163, $199. 16 days on the market, the average sold over list is 5.56%. Condominium sector, $813,982 was the average sale price. Days on market, 26 days, so they're taking a little bit longer to sell, as I mentioned, but still not horrible. 26 is not a bad, still a respectable days on market. And they would sell a little bit over list price, about 2.11%. Taking a sample of San Mateo County, the entire San Mateo County single-family home sector, average home price is $2.4 million. Average days on market, 19 days, would sell about 8.7% over list price. Townhomes are at about 1.4 million, 20 days on the market, sell over list price about 5.2%. Condominiums, again, 872,000, 28 days on the market, a little longer, and then 2.4% over list. Alameda County, single family homes, average sold price 1.35 million. Average days on market, 14 days. Sold price, 13.82%. The Alameda County has actually been very aggressive because of folks moving a little bit further out. Because of COVID, they didn't feel like they had to be in the center, so they bid up the prices even stronger in Alameda County. Townhomes, 883,000, 14 days on market, about 7% over list price. Condominium sector, 815,000, 23 days on the market. The percentage sold over is 34%. I believe there's some skewed data points in here that have made this number jump a little bit higher than normal. So this one, I would put a little asterisk there. 2022, what's our outlook on 2022? In the short run, there should still be low inventory and high demand. We don't see that changing in probably likely the first 2 quarters of 2022. The concern that we have is inflation, because the Federal Reserve is also concerned about inflation. And they have already indicated they're not going to play the wait and see game and see what happens. They're going to taper back their bond buying, and they're also going to increase their interest rates at least 3 times this coming year. So this needs to be monitored. Rates are still at historical lows. So the big question is, how hard does the Federal Reserve go to hike those rates? Because ultimately those will affect interest rates depending on how aggressively they go. However, I still see that likely maybe leveling the real estate market in the latter half of 2022, perhaps Q3, Q4. But again, as they told me in MBA school, it all depends, right? There's no secret formula here. It just depends. If the Federal Reserve goes very hard on interest rates and interest rates move up quickly on the mortgage side of the house, we could see a leveling sooner rather than later. If they go slowly, incrementally, perhaps it will not affect the market that much, because it's still very, very affordable money. We don't know where that threshold is for buyers when they really find homes unaffordable because of the rate increases. Of course, every family has their own specific real estate needs that are custom to their particular situation. Please call us, email us, text us, let us know when we can sit down and have a strategic consultation meeting with you and your family so that we can come up with a plan that we can execute for you in 2022 or beyond. We're always happy to talk, regardless if you're ready now, today, or 5 or 10 years down the line. We want to make sure that you're getting the right advice in order for you to plan the right buy or sell strategy for you and your family. Again, email us at homes@allenwangrealty.com, or you can text us or call us at 408-313-4352. We wish you and your families an amazing 2022. Continuously be prosperous, but be safe, be vigilant. Let's stay on this and let's get us all out of this COVID situation together. Have an amazing 2022 and have a wonderful day.